Imagine it's early 2026. You pick up your phone and notice a pattern across headlines from the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, and Japan. Emergency income support expanded nationwide. Targeted assistance extended for another 6 months. New pilot program approved for households affected by automation. The exact words change from country to country, but the direction feels strangely similar. It isn't officially called universal basic income yet. No one wants to use that phrase openly, but the idea behind it is becoming harder to ignore. Governments almost never introduce historic shifts all at once. They test them quietly, expand them slowly, and normalize them gradually, until one day the debate is no longer theoretical. It is simply happening around you. For more than a decade, economists warned that the traditional connection between productivity, wages, and employment was starting to weaken. That warning became harder to ignore as AI accelerated faster than expected in the early 2020s. By the end of 2025, major institutions finally began admitting that something unusual was happening beneath the surface. The core assumptions of modern labor markets might no longer fully hold. That acknowledgement did not appear in dramatic headlines. It showed up in subtle language, inside technical papers from Oxford and MIT, McKinsey and Goldman Sachs, the OECD and the World Economic Forum. Quiet footnotes began stating that large segments of white-collar work were becoming structurally unstable, faster than earlier models had predicted. To understand why 2026 could become a turning point, it helps to begin with history. When the Black Death eliminated nearly half of Europe's population, labor became scarce, and wages rose dramatically. When the population recovered, wages fell back down. Economists still reference this period because it demonstrates a simple rule: value follows scarcity. Today, we are facing the opposite pattern. AI does not reduce the number of people. It dramatically increases the world's capacity for cognitive work. Millions of hours of thinking, drafting, analyzing, and producing can now occur in seconds. And when the supply of something rises far faster than the demand for it, the price of that thing naturally comes under pressure. That pressure is now forming beneath the surface of white-collar wages. The second signal is speed. The Industrial Revolution replaced human muscle. Over the course of decades, society had time to adjust, to build new industries, and to absorb displaced workers into new kinds of jobs. But AI is exponential. Models jumped from billions to trillions of parameters in just a few years. Capabilities that were experimental in 2020 became consumer tools by 2024 and 2025. Humans retrain in months or years. AI improves in weeks. MIT's most recent analysis suggests that roughly 45% of today's white-collar tasks are automatable using existing technology, not distant future breakthroughs. What once required teams of entry-level analysts, junior designers, coordinators, researchers, and assistants can now be completed by a single person, directing an AI system that works at many times their pace. The third signal is confidence. Rising productivity should, in theory, be a benefit to society. But when millions of workers expect disruption, they change their behavior. They delay major purchases, reduce discretionary spending, avoid long-term commitments, and prioritize saving over consuming. That collective hesitation affects companies, which then cut costs further. The result is an economy with high output and soft demand. This combination concerns economists because it can trigger slowdowns. Even when technology is pushing efficiency higher, AI accelerates output. Human hesitation slows everything else. This is the point where universal basic income begins to appear as more than a social idea. For a growing group of analysts, it becomes something closer to an economic stabilizer. Modern economies rely heavily on consumer spending. If wages fail to support the level of spending required to keep the system stable, income may need to come from additional, non-traditional sources. That does not necessarily mean a permanent, unconditional universal payment. It could mean targeted income floors, adaptive payments tied to training and transitions, regional safety nets, or consumption stabilizers that activate when conditions are met. The terminology varies, but the logic is the same. If AI boosts productivity faster than wages can adjust, something must bridge the gap, or demand falls. McKinsey projects that as many as 12 million American workers may need to transition into new roles by 2030, a scale of movement with very few historical parallels. The OECD finds that countries combining res-killing programs with some form of income stabilization adapt significantly faster than those relying only on traditional labor market tools. Goldman Sachs warns that without some mechanism to maintain demand, the combination of wage stagnation and rapid productivity growth could produce either inflation, if governments overreact, or prolonged weakness, if they do nothing. In both scenarios, the imbalance between productivity and wages becomes the central issue. Real-world experiments already offer clues. In 2024 and 2025, Japan, Canada, Spain, Brazil, and multiple U.S. cities tested structured income programs in different forms. The results surprised even some of the researchers. Participants did not stop working. They retrained more aggressively, started small businesses, moved into higher value roles, and made more stable, long-term decisions. They took career risks that traditional job markets often discourage. They were not using income support as an escape from work. They were using it as a foundation to climb toward better work, which brings us back to 2026, a year where two broad paths appear possible. In the first path, the transition is managed. Temporary income support gives people the breathing room to retrain and reposition themselves, while AI accelerates productivity. Across industries, consumer demand remains steady. Inflation, while present, stays within controllable ranges. AI becomes more of a partner than a pure disruptor. This path does not eliminate discomfort, but it distributes it more evenly and provides time for societies to adjust. The second path is unmanaged. Wages flatten, while living costs remain high. People cut spending. Companies cut more aggressively to protect margins. Consumer confidence weakens, and markets experience extended periods of volatility. Productivity continues to rise, but demand lags behind. Economies enter a fragile zone, where every improvement in output comes with a cost to overall stability. The direction we take depends not only on government policy, but on individual preparedness. The people who navigate this transition most successfully are not necessarily the ones with the most impressive credentials. They are the ones who adapt their workflows the fastest. Early career roles with high routine content remain the most exposed. Data entry, basic customer support, repetitive content production, scheduling, and standardized research tasks are the first to feel pressure. Roles that require judgment, empathy, negotiation, creativity, physical presence, or strategic direction remain more resilient, and the fastest growing advantage belongs to people who direct AI rather than compete against it. There are 3 practical steps you can take now that materially improve your position before 2026 fully arrives. The first step is identifying every task in your current workflow that AI can already complete. In under a minute, those tasks are functionally automated today. Shifting them now positions you ahead of the curve and increases your output immediately. The second step is to master at least one high-leverage AI workflow, whether it is automation chains, model-assisted research, planning systems, or specialized enterprise tools. These workflows raise your productivity ceiling far beyond what traditional skill building could achieve on its own. The third step is creating at least one income pathway that is not tied to a single employer. This is not about abandoning your job. It is about reducing fragility during a period where entire industries can change direction quickly. Universal basic income, if adopted in any form, may help societies adapt to the coming transition, but personal adaptation will almost always move faster and provide the most direct advantage. The next 12 months will shape the rest of the decade. Individuals who prepare early will navigate the shift with far more clarity and opportunity. If you upgrade your skills now and learn how to work with AI instead of against it, you will stay ahead of the curve while others are still reacting. Sources: Oxford University, Economic Futures, 2025. McKinsey Global Institute, The Future of Work After AI, 2025. Goldman Sachs, Generative AI and the Labor Market, Paper 273. MIT CSAIL, Automation Exposure Index, 2025. OECD, The Future of Work in the Age of AI, 2025. World Economic Forum, Jobs of Tomorrow, 2025. Every major economic transition in history has rewarded the people who moved early and penalized the people who waited for certainty. The safest moment to adapt is usually the moment that still feels too early. Stay aware, stay adaptable, stay curious. Before you go, tell me in the comments, do you think income support like UBI will help societies adapt faster, or simply delay a deeper reset?